just before I resigned from the bank, I used to work in Sky Bank. Before I resigned, so I got a call from my mother, and she said that one of my cousins, she was 28 years old, that she had died giving birth to her first child. I was shocked by the news. One, I didn't have a close relationship with my cousin. And second, the last time I met her was like 20 years ago, when we traveled to the village to visit my grandmother. My cousin had visited that time with her mother, and all I can remember about her was her pink shoe, because she wore the best shoe I'd ever seen there. So over the years, each time I remember her, or they call her name, what I remember best is that shoe she wore then. Yeah, so when my mother called me and said that she had died giving birth to her first child, I was devastated. And when she traveled to the village for the burial, I couldn't go in, because I was still doing my 7 to 7 job. You know how I work in the bank, you go in the morning, 6:30, you're already off, you're only about by 8 o'clock. So I couldn't join her, but then she would call to tell me actually how my cousin died. She said my cousin, where she had been attending her antenatal classes, and the doctor told her that she had a narrow pelvis and recommended a C-section, a Caesarian section. But my cousin refused that. She had to register it. Just about the time she was supposed to go to bed, she registered with another hospital. But unfortunately, she died having a vaginal birth, and the baby didn't make it soon. So the mom, she was angry. She was like, why did she refuse the procedure? Mom, she didn't have no problem with the C-section. But after I just ended the call, I was still shaking with fear, because there's still something, don't you say something I'm not discussing with her. I've never told her about it, but I know she's going to slap me if she hears it. I married in 2001. I was 19 years old then. So when I got married, I was quite young, yes, 19 years old. Well, all I thought about then was just getting pregnant, because my cousins then, from my father's side, they told me that they're going to wait by the December of the following year to be sure I really have my own child. But when I went to my husband's house to watch TV, so I worked hard at getting pregnant. All I wanted to do was just get pregnant to prove that yes, I'm a woman too. So by February of that year, yes, the following year, I got pregnant, and I was the happiest woman. And quickly I registered for antenatal classes at the nearby hospital. So at the antenatal classes, you know, I live in Aba. I've been living there since 2001. We have this religious about it. So at the antenatal class, we start with prayers. The nurses, they pray, they tell you about the Hebrew women, how you're going to give birth seamlessly, like the religion of Hebrew. And then they told us what we need, how to stay healthy and all that. And when you meet the doctor, all the doctor will do is just to ask you, lie down, touch your stomach to see the position of the baby. And he will ask you, oh, are you taking your supplements? How many do you have remaining? That's only the best one. And that was it. So by the 7th month, the doctor checked my pelvis and said, okay, you are okay for a vaginal delivery. And I was happy, but a few days to my birth of my first child, I was about to go to school, my water broke. And then I would go through 2 days of intense labor. An experience I won't wish on anyone. But after my baby was born, a girl, she's going to be 13 now. After my baby was born and we were brought out from the labor room, we were ushered into the waiting room where my husband and his relatives were waiting to receive us. So everyone was happy. I was just so tired. I was lying on the bed. And then my in-law, she took my baby, held my baby in her arms. So when she was busy singing in Igbo, praising God, she noticed something odd, that there was swelling at the back of the baby's head. And then she stopped singing. And she finally asked me, come, Ukamaka, did they use a vacuum extractor to get the baby out? I said, yes. How? Her smile died. She stopped singing. And then she said, I must never tell anyone this. I must never tell my husband this, because if he hears it, he will be disappointed in me that I was not strong enough to give birth to my child by myself. That they needed an extractor to help me deliver. And people will mock me, that they will call me feel that I was not a superior woman. And at that age, I was not up to 20 then, because I was supposed to turn 20 by October. I gave birth September 28th. I was not up to 20, and I felt so much shame when she said it. And I didn't tell my husband, I didn't tell anybody. What I showed, I always did was, you know, the baby heart, I always cover her hair so that people wouldn't see the swelling. Even at the point where my husband, you know, when he carries the baby, I'll be afraid that he notices the swelling and then, you know, trouble will begin. But one, I already have 2 offenses. I didn't tell him how I gave birth to my child. Number 2, I was pretending I was a superior woman when I was not. So, at the point he complained that I was coming the baby too much, but I had to convince him. I told him that the baby would catch cold, that her skull was still soft, that she was ready to fall sick, and then he left me at it. So I wanted to make amends, and that opportunity came 2 years time, 2004, sorry, when I was pregnant again. So this time I wanted to prove it, I want to make a point. And I'm a superior woman too, I'm not inferior. What happened then was because I was still 19, now I'm 21. But what happened then was after hours of labor, we met the same problem again. Though the pains were beyond this world, the contraction were not strong enough to push out the baby. And while we were packing, then I'm fully dilated, the baby had crowned. I could not push the baby out. And then the matron was saying, Ukamaka, we need the extractor. And I said, no way, don't even try that. I was pushing, I was struggling. Even to my own, I was tired, I was screaming, I was crying, but I insisted, I wanted to prove that point. I could do it like my mother did it. I could do it like another person did it. She was insistent, but at the point, I couldn't remember if she finally used it, because all I could remember doing was crying and screaming and all that. But with less complication after my baby was born, immediately she was brought out. I started having massive bleeding, and my baby couldn't move. So while they were struggling to get my baby to cry and all those stuff they do, the nurse was giving me injection and cleaning me up and all that. But then what struck me then was the fear I saw in their eyes, because at that particular point in time, there was no doctor in the hospital. It was just me and the nurses. There was no doctor. So what if something had gone wrong? What if something had gone wrong? What would have happened? And the baby was so damn tired from being crowned. After she had crowned for how long? She's almost out there. She's not like the where she has full supply of oxygen and all that. So for the next few days, that fear, each time I remember it, and for the first few weeks after the baby's, when my baby, when she's asleep, I would just be looking at her to be sure that she's still breathing and all that. So the fear didn't leave me even after I was. So, but something changed. By 2007, I was pregnant again for my last baby, the boy. He's 8 years old now. When I went to the labor, I was in labor, they took me to the hospital, but this time I didn't care if they needed an extractor. I didn't care if they wanted to do a C-section, yes. I didn't care this time, but something changed. Not because of the fear of the complication I had the other time. This time was because I already met a group of women. These women, some of them used epidurals, some used extractors, one of them even had an elective C-section. For those women, up to today, I'm still friends with them. All they care about is just being healthy at the end of the day, and their baby being healthy at the end of the day. To them, this notion that for you to become a superior woman, you must have a vaginal delivery, to them, it's a completely silly idea. So they changed the way I see the world. They shaped my idea up to today. Because one thing I've realized is that the kind of people you surround yourself with, they will determine the way you see the world. They will shape your ideas, and then they will shape the way you take decisions. So for these women, they changed me. What saddens me today is that I didn't have that close relationship with my cousin. Because if I had that relationship with her, I would have been able to tell her that it's okay, please go ahead and do it. Even get a schedule, do anything you want to do, but just come out healthy. But she, because of I'm from Anambra State. So because of I understand our community, she was trying to prove a point. Because how would a doctor recommend you C-section that you have narrow pelvis and you refuse and you want to go and prove that you can give birth to like the women of Hebrew? So that's what happened to me. So for me, I believe that if women in our communities, because when you go for antenatal care, and that's the part that something me most, like I was talking to the doctor earlier today, you go for antenatal care, doctor, they don't discuss with you the various way you can have your child, or just check the condition of your baby, and then they tell you, you are ready for this is your due date, or they give you supplements. But those important discussions that will guide your decisions, we don't have that discussion. Or when you go to meet the nurses, they talk about God, they preach and they pray and they rant about the women of Hebrew. And then you go home, you have wanting you to prove yourself to show that you are a superior woman too. Now, I'm not going to blame my aunt, my in-law completely for this. Some weeks ago, that should be around 2 weeks ago, yes, I came across this meme on Facebook shared by a group of women. It was targeted at women who had C-section, and the meme was saying that those women are lazy, that they really can't take a lucky break, that they shouldn't speak when the superior women are talking. I don't know if any other person has seen that meme on Facebook. It actually went viral. So if women in this day and age can actually hunt down other women on Facebook to mock them for having help, then you can understand what goes on in the community. Where people don't have access to social media and Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and Flickr or whatever you have, Snapchat. If women in this day and the age can hunt down people who have access to mobile phone, then you can now think of what's happened, why I did what I did. Why am I doing what ignore her doctor's recommendation? And again, it reminded me back in the day, even before I met my friends, when I was still in Polytechnic, before I went to the university, I had a friend called Tochi. All we just knew that she just died. When we asked, they said, oh, that the doctor, they wanted to charge her. We had this doctor in Hapa. He's so fond of baby women, always recommending C-section. She actually went to that hospital. Possibly, she had a narrow pelvis, but when that man recommended the C-section, she refused and she went to another hospital and she died trying to force her baby out. And again, I had another friend too, who she had a good pelvis too, but she was trying to force the baby out, and they recommended C-section because after hours of baby crowning, the baby couldn't be pushed out. They recommended C-section, she refused that she wants to push the baby out. But eventually they will go through that C-section, and then they will realize that the cord had wrapped around the baby's leg, holding the baby back, and the baby couldn't survive it. I believe that if we get to talk to women mostly, especially in Eastern Nigeria, I don't know about the other part of Nigeria, I've been there for 14 years and understand the mentality. If we can talk to women to understand that vaginal delivery is not what will determine who is a superior woman, we will get to say not of women. We will get to cut down on maternal death. Because one thing that saddens me most time is when they record a maternal, oh, she died, giving birth, nobody will record actually who led to that death. What engineered her business? I was talking to a doctor, she said that she recommended the C-section for a woman. She said, no, that they don't want that. Why? Because we want to understand the why. So we need to recalibrate the way people think. If not, I wouldn't have made the mistake I made. If not, my cousin wouldn't have died. And then if not, we wouldn't have had a lot of similar cases back there in Eastern Nigeria. So that's all I came to do. I wanted to write an essay, but at least I hope this will give me more coverage. Thank you very much.